Playing the game in the entertainment field is playing the role of a sambo, a clown, a coon, a minstrel, a bedwench, a homosexual, a black mammy. Okay? Essentially, we're talking about denigrating your people and bootlicking white supremacy. That is playing the game. This is a fact. White males also have had a long nefarious history of lynching and castrating black males and taking their genitals as well as other parts. They're taking the genitals home as prized and desired souvenirs to be possessed, symbolically making them their own. Yes, you white men fantasize and envy black balls. This is really sad. Now, as you guys may already know, Monique has been blackballed from Hollywood, allegedly because she did not play the game, according to Lee Daniels, the director of the movie Precious. So in this video, I want to discuss what is the game that Monique didn't play that led her to become blackballed from Hollywood. But before I get into that, I want to first give a brief history of Monique's rise to fame. Now, we have to admit that Monique is a very intelligent, charismatic, funny, and open-minded individual. She even has an open marriage with her husband, Sid Hicks. She says in this article that while she has not had sex outside her marriage to husband and business manager, Sid Hicks, he is free to do so. So this is the type of person that Monique is. She is very liberal. Most people know Monique from doing the show The Parkers. And while she was doing The Parkers, she was also doing stand-up comedy at shows like Showtime at the Apollo. Monique had a great run in Hollywood. The TV show The Parkers lasted for 5 years, from 1999 to 2004. And during that time, she was in a lot of movies and wrote 2 books. In 2001, she was in Queens of Comedy. Then she wrote a book titled Skinny Women Are Evil, Notes of a Big Girl in a Small-Minded World in 2003. Then in 2004, she was in the movie Soul Plane. Then she released a DVD titled Platinum Comedy Series Monique One Night Stand. Then when The Parkers was finally over, she released another movie, The Big Black Comedy Show Volume 1. Then she released Volume 2. Then she went ahead and teamed up with Bruce and created Platinum Comedy Series All-Star Volume 3. And then in 2006, she starred in the movie Fat Girls. And then she went ahead and wrote another book, Skinny Cooks Can't Be Trusted, in 2006. And then in 2007, she starred in the movie I Could Have Been Your Cellmate. Then in 2008, she was in the movie Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. And then finally, in 2009, she was in the movie Precious, which gave her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Little time after that, she came out to the media and said that she was sexually abused as a child. And then they gave her her own show, The Monique Show. Monique was now on the top of the world. She finally got what she always wanted, her own show on national TV. But it only lasted 2 years, from 2009 to 2011. Terrible things started to happen. In 2010, her stylist was killed by her husband, who drove around with the body for 2 days. And then finally, Monique's brother went on the Oprah show and admitted that he had molested her as a child. Now, before we go any further, it's very important to acknowledge that Monique is a no-nonsense type of person. She'll clown, she'll coon, she'll even compromise her principles to some extent, but there's a line that she won't cross. This picture pretty much embodies what this video is about. Now, to demystify this conspiracy, I'm going to be using the book The ISIS Papers by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I'll be using the book Straight Talk on Tough Topics by Chris Jackson. I'll be using the book The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept by Mr. Neely Fuller. I'll be using the book The White Man's Bible by Ben Clayson. And finally, I'll be using the book The Miracle of Language by Richard Lederer. Now, don't be fooled. Monique knows what the game is and why she's being blackballed. And in actuality, she's playing the game by not saying what the game is. Now, let's take a look at this clip of her talking about her being blackballed. And when you get back, I'm going to expose what the game is.
You know, the phone was ringing and the scripts were coming. And when people say, Monique, where have you been? It's not that I haven't been on TV or been in the movies because I've been blackballed, as Mr. Daniels has said. The offers just didn't make sense, Dawn. So, again, the phones didn't stop ringing and the scripts didn't stop coming, but the offers that were associated with them were offers that made me say, guys, I can't accept that. Because if I accept that and I won the award, what are my sisters being offered that didn't win the award or wasn't nominated? And what does it say to the little girl who's not here yet, that if we continue to accept these low offers, however do we make it different and make a change?
Okay, I want to play this. This was Lee Daniels on this very broadcast last night. Let's listen.
Okay.
We were on the campaign, and she was making unreasonable demands. And, you know, and she wasn't thinking. This is when reverse racism, I think, happens. You know, I said, you have to thank the producers of the film. You have to thank the studio. And I think she didn't understand that. And I think that, and I said, listen, people aren't going to respond well if you don't. So I love her, and I've spoken to her, and she's brilliant. And I like working with brilliant people. But sometimes artists get in their own way. I think that there were demands that were made from her on the Precious campaign that everyone knows about that hurt her, and I told her that.
Can she change that?
I mean, if she plays ball, you got to play ball. This is not just show. It's show business, and you've got to play ball.
What's your reaction, Monique? You didn't play the game. You had difficult demands.
I want to address it for the order that it went in. And when Mr. Daniels said I had these demands, it shocked me because I was saying to the screen, Dawn, please ask them what the demands were. Mm-hmm. And actually, there were no demands. There was a request from the movie studio, and they called and requested that I fly to France for the Cannes Film Festival. I simply said I respectfully declined. Because if you can remember at the time, there was a talk show called The Monique Show. I was doing a comedy tour. I was actually in the award season of the awards, and I'm also a wife, and I'm a mommy. So when they called, I had a couple days just downtime. I wanted to spend that with my husband and my kids. So when we said we respectfully declined, the movie studio called back again. And they said, okay, well, we'll upgrade her hotel room. And my husband simply said again, we respectfully decline. She's gonna take this time with her family.
Yeah.
Well, when the third call came and they said, what is it gonna take to get Monique to France, to the Cannes Film Festival? And my husband said, is there a number associated with it? And they said, oh, we would never pay for anyone to do any promotions for a movie. And we said we understood, because what people didn't know was I was paid $50,000 to do the movie Precious. And it really wasn't about the money, and I'm not complaining because I signed up to do it with my friend.
Yeah. But
So
you're saying that because you didn't have the money to do this on your own. Is that what you're saying? That you needed to feed your family and pay your bill?
I think that's what America says.
Yeah.
I think we all say, I can't do it for free.
Right.
So when the movie studio says we can't set a precedent and pay you to do this, we didn't have an issue with them.
Okay.
But that's when the reports came that now Monique is being demanding and she's being difficult. They had a request, we simply had a request, and they said they couldn't do it, and we said we understood. That was it.
So what is the game that Monique didn't play? Well, the game is what they call white supremacy, which technically should be called Jewish supremacy, but your black leaders are too scared to call it for what it really is. The thing is, if you actually read the book, The White Man's Bible, it clearly states that the white man's mortal enemy are the Jews and the quote-unquote mud races. Now, according to Neely Fuller, racism is actually white supremacy, and it has 4 stages. We're currently in the 4th stage. In the first stage, it was established. In the second, it was maintained. In the third, it expanded. And currently, it's being refined. In this refinement stage, white folks are promoting a more subtle type of racism, not one that is in your face. So people like Don Imus or Michael Richards or Donald Sterling are punished, quote unquote, for being blatantly racist, because again, we are in the refinement stage. Now, according to Neely Fuller, racism is in all the major areas of people activity, including economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Now, Monique falls under the category of entertainment. So again, playing the game in the entertainment field is playing the role of a Sambo, a clown, a coon, a minstrel, a bedwench, a homosexual, a black mammy, okay? Essentially, we're talking about denigrating your people and bootlicking white supremacy. That is playing the game. So now when you're someone like Monique who has pride and has principles that she won't compromise, and there is a certain line she won't cross, you're going to come in conflict with the game, which is white supremacy. You're going to either cooperate with the game or you're going to resist. And what she's doing is resisting the game. So when Lee Daniels says that Monique is practicing reverse racism, what he's really saying is that Monique is countering racism, because there's only 2 forms of racial systems. You have racist speech and action and counter-racist speech and action. Monique is countering and reacting to the racism. She's saying, no, I'm not going to take this role for a less amount of money than I got paid for Precious. Remember, she got paid only $50,000 to do the movie Precious. So they're giving her low offers. She's saying, no, I'm not going to play a subservient role. I'm not going to play a mammy. I'm not going to degrade my people. I want better roles, uplifting roles. I want roles that will pay more because I got an Academy Award. Okay, so she's standing for something, and by doing that, she's not playing the game. By doing that, she has become blackballed from Hollywood. Alright guys, so the point of the video has been made. I explained why she was blackballed and what the game is. Now I'm going to go a bit further. Hopefully you'll follow me as I jump down this rabbit hole. So now let's look at some black folks who won an Academy Award for playing the game. The first black female and the first African American person to ever win an Academy Award was Hattie McDaniel. In the movie Gone with the Wind, she played a subservient mammy who was loyal yet bossy. Then we have Sidney Poitier, who was the first black male to win an Oscar. In the movie Lilies of the Field, Poitier plays a handyman who was used and abused but retained his pride and pushed forward. Then we have Denzel Washington, who was the second African American actor to receive the award for Best Actor. In the movie Training Day, Denzel played a corrupt cop who was involved in drug dealing and murder cover-ups. This movie was actually the first time Denzel Washington has ever played a villain. Then we have Jamie Foxx. He was the first African American actor to receive 2 acting nominations in the same year. In the movie Ray, Jamie Foxx plays Ray Charles, a blind man who prevails in spite of vision loss and racism. Then we have Forest Whitaker, who won an Academy Award for Best Performance by an actor in a leading role. In the movie The Last King of Scotland, Forest Whitaker plays a murderous Uganda leader named Idi Amin, where his chief advisor is the exploitive and naive white Scottish doctor. Then Halle Berry won an award for first American actress to win Best Actress. In the movie Monsters Ball, Halle Berry plays a black woman who has sex with a white racist that killed her husband. And after finding out he was her husband's killer, she still stays with him. Then we have Monique, who gets an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in the movie Precious. In the movie, Monique plays a mother who molests and beats her overweight daughter, who at some point in the movie gets impregnated by her very own father. Then we have Octavia Spencer, who won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role of playing a mammy in the movie The Help. In the movie The Help, Octavia Spencer plays the role of a loudmouth, sassy maid who helps a white woman write a book titled The Help, which documents the suffering of black maids who work for rich white families. Then we have Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita is the first black African to win an Academy Award in any category. In the movie 12 Years a Slave, Lupita plays a slave girl who is repeatedly raped by her slave owner, Brad Pitt. Then we have Whoopi Goldberg, who won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for the role she played in the movie Ghost. In the movie, Whoopi plays a con artist and a fake psychic who helps a ghost solve a murder case. Now check this out. The first black producer to ever win Best Picture, ever in history, is Steve McQueen for the movie 12 Years a Slave. Now you have to explain this, because I know some people are sitting down and watching this and like, man, this guy's just making it a race issue, he's pulling the race card or whatever it may be. But no. You gotta explain this. How is it the first black producer to ever win Best Picture is for a slave movie in 2013? How do you explain that? How do you explain that the two most powerful producers and directors that are black are both gay? Lee Daniels, gay. Steve McQueen, gay. How do you explain that? Lee Daniels, he's actually the producer for Precious, Empire, Butler, and Monsters Ball. All these movies are negative stereotypes of black people, denigrating black people. Again, it just goes to show you we're in the refinement stage of so-called white supremacy. We're in the refinement stage where now they're putting black faces to degrade and denigrate black people. And they're using gays. Now, according to Neely Fuller, the most destructive act committed by white supremacists against non-white people is sexual intercourse, sexual play, and or sexual confusion. Now I want to switch gears for a second. I want to look at some words, some positive words, some negative words. And I want to ask you, is it a coincidence that these phrases, these negative phrases, have the word black in it, while these positive phrases have the word white in it? Now this list of words is taken from the book Straight Talk on Tough Topics and the book The Miracle of Language. When we look at the negative column, we see the word blackball, blacklist, black horses, black hat, black lies, black heart, black eye, black cat, black mood, blackout, black magic, black hole, black humor, black face, black market, black deed, black male, black flag, devil's food cake, which is dark, black, and 8 ball, which is also black. Then we look at the positive column, we see white hat, white horse, white lies, white heart, white knight, white meat, white magic, white flag, white collar, lily white, white glove, and angel's food cake, which is also white. So now there are only 3 black phrases that are in the positive column, which is black belt, black tie, and in the black. Now we're going to switch gears and we're going to move over to the book, The ISIS Papers. Remember, Lee Daniels was talking about you have to know how to ball, right? You know, you've been blackballed. So we're going to talk about balls. We're going to talk about black balls, literally, okay? Now it says here, it's no accident that the phrase to blackball in the language of white supremacy culture means to exclude, and to have the power to exclude, similarly to the genetic material in the black testicles, black balls. Black balls has the power to genetically exclude or annihilate the recessive genetic material in the white testicles. Okay? Now, remember Monsters Ball? Matter of fact, I have a quote here. Remember Hank's father, he says, "You ain't no man till you split dark oak." He's talking about a black woman, right? And in ISIS papers it says, "Common underground thought and saying of white men is that they are not really men until they have had sexual intercourse with a black female." Okay? This again is a demonstration of white males fantasizing that they are in the customary role of a black male whose genitals they apparently admire. Yes, you white men do admire black balls and envy it. Thus, the black male is their true standard of real manhood and genetic power, the ultimate controller of the black ball. As white males attempt to master the placement of these large brown playing balls in openings, their activity can be viewed as attempts to resolve the dilemma of their self-questioned manhood. Now it says here that in the autobiography of Malcolm X, he stated that the sexual perversion he was asked to perform most often by white men was for him, as a black male, to have sexual intercourse with white females in their presence, while they, white men, looked on. Again, this is the perversion that the white collective has. Fascination with black balls, wanting to live vicariously through black men, wanting to watch black men have sex with white women. It's all about control, but it's also a fantasy, an envy of black balls. This is a fact. White males also have had a long nefarious history of lynching and castrating black males and taking their genitals, as well as other parts. They're taking the genitals home as prized and desired souvenirs to be possessed, symbolically making them their own. Yes, you white men fantasize and envy black balls. This is really sad. And it says here, one final question: is it a reflection of white male self-hate and self-rejection and rejection of the inadequacy of the white testicles, balls, and the games played with small white balls involve the balls being attacked, hit, struck, and knocked far away from the body in an act of masochism? Whereas by contrast, the games played with large brown balls involve holding onto and possessing the balls. No large brown balls are struck with objects in the white supremacy culture popular ball games. We see here, basketball. Brown ball goes through white nets. Black men were initially excluded from playing basketball. We look at football. Brown balls going through white goalpost. Quarterbacks are predominantly white. We look at soccer. White ball kicked violently into white net. The master of the white ball is a Brazilian soccer player named Pelé, who married a white woman. We look at hockey. Black puck going through white net. Black men are not allowed to play hockey. We look at golf. Small white ball getting hit violently into a hole and into a black hole, which represents the black woman, Mother Earth, right? We look at ping pong. Small white ball getting hit violently on a table over a white net. We look at tennis. Small white ball getting hit violently across a white net. We look at baseball. A big brown bat hitting a white ball violently out of the stadium. We look at pool. White ball gets hit by a brown stick to put all the colored balls under. The last ball to go under must be the black 8 ball. And the last ball on the table is the white ball. Now I want to just switch gears and wrap things up. We go to the white man's Bible. It clearly states that Jews are the white man's mortal enemy. And the Jews are trying to niggerize America. This is from the white man's Bible. Okay? It says, our natural enemies. And who are his natural enemies? Number one on the list is the international Jew, the whole Jewish network, the Jew as an individual. Number two is the mass of colored races, whom we shall designate simply as the mud races. Dumb and confused about the dumbest creature in the world is the one who will not only refuse to defend itself against its enemies, but will rally to the defense of the very enemy that is actively engaged in a program to destroy it. Okay? It says, from the white man's point of view, the Jews, the niggers, and the mud races are his eternal natural enemies. Either or, at this crucial stage of world history, either the white race will survive, or the Jews and their enslaved mud races. Okay? So I do recommend you go and check out this video titled, If We Can't Get Them Out, We'll Breed Them Out. Respect to Francis Cress Welsing, but I do believe that the black race can be bred out, as Neely Fuller states in his book, The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. The most destructive act of white supremacy is sexual intercourse, and it will dilute the black race because, again, the white race is keeping their race exclusive, while the one drop rule makes anyone with a drop of quote-unquote black blood immediately black. Okay? That's my video. Let me know what you think. Until next time, Conspiracy Dude. Hey guys, before I go, make sure you subscribe. Add me on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter. And also check out my website, conspiracydude.com, where we can discuss some more controversial issues. Until then, check out my older videos. I'll catch you guys in a bit. You see, when I add these numbers up and they start to line up, I know it's a sacrifice, I know it's a ritual. So I don't need to wait on the news media outlets to tell me, yes, Bobby Christina Brown is officially dead. I don't need to wait on them to tell me that, because they lie. Don't you remember what happened with Michael Jackson when he allegedly died? Don't you remember they were saying he's in a coma? Oh, no, he's dead. No, he's in a coma. You don't remember that? Okay, let's play that clip.
With all these reports of Michael Jackson, or these multiple reports of Michael Jackson being dead, the LA Times coming out and saying he's in a coma, that really puts a big question mark over all the reports that he has passed away. So
Carlos, I'm going to cut you off because we do have now word, according to the Los Angeles Times is reporting that Michael Jackson has died.